Welcome back to another Collectible Spotlight. I'm that Halloween movie collector, Pat. This week is going to be part one of 3 episodes that I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to start 3 separate episode spotlight on Michael Myers Bobble Heads. Over the past few years, there's been a lot of releases. Actually, over the past 20 years, there's been an awful lot of Michael Myers Bobblehead releases. So I figured, just to keep your interest, so I don't bore people, I would break it up into 3 separate episodes. So this first Part 1 is going to be the first 3 releases of Michael Myers Bobbleheads. Next week will be the 2 releases of Bobbleheads for the Halloween 2018 movie. And then Part 3 the week after that will be all the various releases of the Royal Bobbleheads that have come out over the past 4 years. So I thought, break it up a little bit. It's a lot to try to cram into one. I didn't want to do individual episodes on each one because that's a lot too. We just drag it out. So I figured let's break it up into 3 separate sections and highlight certain ones from each section. So this week we're going to start with the first 3 releases. Now, bobbleheads were always great. I mentioned I think when I did the Funko Pop Collectible Spotlight, which I'll throw a link to up here. Go check it out. They reminded me of those tall Esco figures. For those that are a little bit older like me, Esco figures were those figures that were about, I forget how high they were. I have to go back and watch the re-episode myself. They were probably about 20 inches high. And they were real heavy, like plaster of Paris. And they had huge heads and small bodies. And they were like mostly like classic movie stars and sports figures at the time. And they were actually very collectible now. So those were like the first big bobbleheads. They had the big giant head and the small body. I'll throw a couple pictures up so you guys see what they look like. But go check out the other episodes. Pretty cool on the Funko Pops. So they always took me back to that when they first started coming out. Now, with the Myers bobbleheads, there's different various sizes and releases. So let's get started with the first release. The first Myers bobblehead to be released was the Myers Horror Headliners XL, manufactured by Equity Marketing and sold in the Spencer stores back in 1999. Now, Equity Marketing made a bunch of animated toys and bobbleheads back then. I think they're still around too, and they produce them for other manufacturers. But it was mostly sports figures. But they did have other ones, other famous people, other horror icons, and they were sold primarily in Spencer's and sporting goods stores because a lot of people would take them and take them to like the sporting conventions and have them signed. Pretty much predating most of the horror conventions where everybody's having all their stuff signed now. The Myers release was limited to 40,000 pieces. Mine is number 14,879 of that limited edition. Each box does have a open spot on the back where you can see that certificate of authenticity stating the piece and the number. The bobblehead is 6 inches high, comes with a bloody knife, and Michael Myers embossed on the stand. The box has some cool images and short history of the Halloween movie on one side and Michael Myers on the other side. On the one side, it gives a little backstory of Michael Myers. It says, in 1978, Compass International released a low-budget horror film called Halloween. Halloween became one of the largest grossing independent films ever. Michael Myers immediately became one of the most feared and recognized faces in the horror genre. Michael continued to scare audiences in 6 other films up until this time, making Halloween one of the most successful horror series ever. On the other side, it says, get him before he gets you. Halloween will never be the same. The man that terrorized millions is once again on the loose. For over 20 years, innocent victims have fallen under his knife. His black eyes behind the emotionless white mask says it all. He is pure evil. Close your doors, set the alarm, leave the lights on, for the boogeyman is back. And this time, he's here to stay. There were other horror icons released too, that were in the XL Horror XL Headliners series, which were Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Ghostface, Leatherface, and Dr. Frankenfurter, as well as many other characters from one of my favorite movies, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Now, these, I believe, were around $19.99 at the time, if I remember correctly. I'm not remembering all these prices. Should have wrote them all down because I, carefully peeled stickers off back in the day because I just didn't like to stare at the stickers. So who would have known I'd be doing these spotlights years later when I would like to have known what we paid. But I believe they're around $19.99. And today, They're not difficult to find. You can find them usually on eBay or even go on Marketplace. I see a lot of people sell them on Facebook Marketplace. And, $45 and up, depending on the condition of the box. Obviously it'll be a little bit cheaper if out of the box. But if there's a decent box, $45 to maybe $85 is pretty fair for what I've seen these things go for. And here is my Horror Headliners XL. Let's see if I can get it without the glare. Now next, Michael Myers Bobble Head is the Michael Myers Head Knockers Bobblehead, released in 2004 by NECA. Now, I don't really need to go into the National Entertainment Collectibles Association, or better known as NECA company itself, because it's pretty much synonymous with collectibles over the past 20 years. The NECA head knocker, Michael Myers, measures 7 inches and has no loose accessories. He is holding a non-bloody knife. He's standing on a stand with a jack-o'-lantern and a clown mask, which is obviously a replica of the clown mask from the young Michael Myers in the original movie. The base has Michael Myers embossed on it. Now, the box has some cool shots of the bobblehead on either side, as well as a shot of the cover art to Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, on the top of the box. Now, they also released other Headliner XL horror icons like Gremlins, Alien, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Ghostface, and Leatherface. Now, I believe these were around $19.99 each as well. I think they all were around that price range. And these are not difficult to find either. If you go on eBay, you can find them. Look at Facebook Marketplace, you can find them. And they're going for, I want to say, $65 to maybe on the high end, $100, depending on the box. Obviously cheaper if they're loose. And the last bobblehead Michael Myers bobblehead we're going to discuss this week is the Wacky Wabbler bobblehead, released by Funko in 2011. Now, I've mentioned this in my Funko Collectible Spotlight, which I'll throw back up there again if you haven't checked it out. Funko started out making Wacky Wobblers and starting bobbleheads before they started with the pop vinyl figures, and exploded with that. Actually, the first Wacky Wobbler bobblehead, I believe, was Bob from Bob's Big Boy. I think that was the first one that they released. So, and then once they started producing the pop vinyl figures and everything else, and everybody knows Funko now, and they're all highly collectible, and they've exploded over the past, 15, 20 years. Now, the Wacky Wobbler by Funko, Michael Myers, comes with no loose accessories. He's simply holding a bloody knife, and with Michael Myers written on the base. Now, what was interesting while doing research on this Wacky Wobbler, which I wasn't aware of, that there must be 2 variants of the box. Now, the box I have, which is this one right here, the Wacky Wobbler, if you see the bottom where it's written Michael Myers, it is written in the typical font that you see Halloween written in. I'll throw up a picture here. I noticed some of the later boxes have it printed in red, and it says Michael Myers, almost like a spray paint type writing. So I wasn't aware that there was 2 different versions. I guess the second one, they just changed the writing for whatever reason. I'm not sure. So those on the lookout, or those who are completists like myself, are going to have to go get that second version now. The other artwork on the box consists of the iconic pumpkin logo, Myers' mask on both sides, and on the back, a photo of Michael in the Wallace house. Other horror icon Wacky Wobblers were Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, and Universal Monsters. Now, same as the other ones, I believe they were all generally around $19.99. Now, these, for some reason, I guess maybe because they're Funko, maybe like a $10 difference where they go up a little bit higher. I've seen them go on, in really nice boxes on eBay and other places for maybe $65, $70, up until I've seen them over $100, $100, $110. All depends on what you want to pay. And I've said before, pay more attention to what things are selling for, not what people are asking for. People can ask whatever they want, and that stuff will just sit there. Just watch. Pay more attention to what things are selling for. And always make people offers. Go on eBay, make somebody an offer. You never know. They might take it. Nine out of 10 times, people will make, as long as it's a reasonable offer, people will take it. So if you don't have any of these 3 Myers bobbleheads in your collection, happy hunting. And that's this week's part 1 of the Michael Myers bobbleheads. Like I said, I decided to split this up into 3 separate episodes. That's not to bore people and just drone on too long. Although if you're here, you're a Halloween geek like myself. So I'm assuming that's why you're watching this. So next week we'll do part 2, which will be, as I mentioned in the beginning of the episode, we'll do the 2018 Halloween, the 2 bobblehead releases. And then after that, part 3, we'll do the various multiple releases of the Royal Bobbles that just keep coming out, including one I just got this past weekend, which was one of the latest versions. And at the end, I will reveal my favorite one. So let's see if you guys can guess that. Actually, I probably gave that away if you guys watched the Halloween Collectors podcast. I gave it away. But tune in anyway, hopefully. So with that being said, that's this week's episode, part 1. So try to go through my usual spiel quickly, as not to bore people and make people click out. Anything behind me or on my Instagram page, go to @thatHalloweenMovieCollector. Anything that's on that page you'd like to see a collectible spotlight on or would like to know some information about, by all means, reach out. All my links are in the description below. Hit me up. Hit that notification button. Hit that like button. It helps people find this channel. If you also like to geek out once a week on a live talk, just come check out the Halloween Collectors podcast that I do every Sunday at 7 p.m. with my 3 buddies over on the Michael's Horror and Pinball channel, where we discuss Halloween collectibles, rankings, spotlights, break each other's chops, talk movies, just talk anything in general, jump in the chat. And we're very active with the chat, so you'll get in there and we have a lot of fun. So I'll actually throw a link to our latest podcast right here. Go join it. Also, if you just a collector want to see some of the new stuff that's coming out, go to Facebook and check out my Facebook group, Halloween and Michael Myers Collectors Group. In there, everybody's posting parts of their collection, new things that are coming out. It's a great place to find things. Shout out to all the people in the group, because I myself don't know everything and don't know everything that's out there. There's a lot of people posting some really cool stuff because a lot of stuff's coming out and stuff I'm finding because of that group. So if you collect, it's a great place to be. So with that being said, that is this week, part 1. I'll see you guys for part 2 next week of the Michael Myers bobbleheads. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you learned some cool stuff. And if you don't have that, I hope if you don't have any of these bobbleheads and you're interested in getting them, I wish you happy hunting. And I hope you get a good deal on them and you can add them to your collection, as I have my 3 sitting right here. And so until next time, I'll talk to you soon.